Graphic equipment. There are many different types of film cameras. These are some of the best out there to use, such as Olympus Pen, Nikon F, Canon AE1, Hasselblad 500 cm, Pentax K1000, Widelux, Holga, Leica M4, Rolleiflex ETLR, and Minolta SRT10. These film cameras all do the same thing, which is to film. The reason why they are the best out there is because, for example, the Olympus Pen has a unique format in that it takes 35mm film. It will also take 72 exposures on a single roll of 36 exposures. There are many different types of digital cameras such as Nikon, Canon, Sony, Olympus, Panasonic, TomTom Bandit, Leica. There are this many digital cameras out there, so that competitor can try and get the best digital camera. These are 10 of the best digital cameras: Sony A7RII, Olympus OMD EM10II, TomTom Bandit, Sony RX100II, Panasonic TZ70/ZS50, Leica Q, Nikon D7200, Canon EOS 760D, Panasonic LX100, Panasonic FZ1000. There are many different types of lenses that will fit onto cameras, such as wide-angle, long, macro attachments. The reason why there are many different types of lenses is because with each different lens you can do something different while filming with that lens. For example, with a long lens, by using this lens you can film far away for the object that you want to film. For there are many types of film types and storages devices. These are the types of storages devices: diskettes, hard disks, both fixed and removable, high-capacity floppy disks, disk cartridges, magnetic tape, primary optical storage, compact disc read-only memory, CD-ROM, digital video disc read-only memory, DVD-ROM, OCD recordable, CDR, CD reritable, CDRW, photo CD. There is also many different types of film. Photographic printing is the process of producing a final image on paper for viewing, using chemically sensitized paper. The paper is exposed to a photographic negative, a positive transparency, or slide, or a digital image file projected using an enlarger or digital exposure unit such as a light jet printer. Alternatively, the negative or transparency may be placed atop the paper and directly exposed, creating a contact print. Photographs are more commonly printed on plain paper, for example by a color printer, but this is not considered photographic printing. Techniques. By using a camera while taking photos, you will use aperture, shutter speed, focus, lens, length, filters, film stock and the film speed. By using the aperture to take photos is that you can change the aperture within the camera. The aperture is where light travels through, and also the focal length of an optical system determine the cone angle of a bundle of rays that come to a focus in the image plane. It is good to use aperture while taking photos is because you can change how the photo will look. When using shutter speed is when the length of time when the film or the digital sensor inside the camera is also exposed to light. Also when the camera shutter is open when a photo is being taken. The amount of light that reaches the images or the film sensor is proportional to the exposure time. When taking photos, the camera has to be in focus, otherwise the photo that you have taken will not be focus and be blurry. When your camera is stand upright, that will mean that all photos that you will take will be focus. A lens on a camera is where you have to attach it to the camera body. There is many different types of lens. For example, a zoom lens. This lens is where you can zoom in and out. You can do this by taking a photo far away from you, when it looks like you are near the thing that you are taking a photo of. Health and safety. Dark room. Before starting work in the dark room and turning off the main lights, make sure all work surfaces are clean and free of debris, litter, etc. Put any bags or belongings away underneath the bay you intend to work in. Remember, the darkroom is a low light and even no light working environment, so be sure not to leave coats, bags, etc. where they cannot be tripped over. Do not take food or drink into the darkroom. Check that the chemicals you wish to use are fresh and not contaminated. Check the labels of the chemicals before pouring them into the printing trays and before turning off the main white lights. Note correct use of chemicals below. Make sure equipment that you need is at hand. Using lighting. At its simplest, different levels of lighting are required for different types of work. Close, accurate work such as soldering a control panel will require higher light levels than walking down a corridor. However, when considering lighting, a number of different factors need to be considered, such as color, contrast, glare, and so on. Health and Safety Act 1974. The Health and Safety at Work etc. Act 1974, also referred to as HSWA, the HSW Act, the 1974 Act or HSWA, is the primary piece of legislation covering occupational health and safety in Great Britain. The Health and Safety Executive, with local authorities and other enforcing authorities, is responsible for enforcing the Act and a number of other acts and statutory instruments relevant to the working environment. Control of substances hazardous to health. COSHH. Regulations. 2002. The occupational use of nanomaterials is regulated under the Control of Substances Hazardous to Health. COSHH. COSHH is the law that requires employers to control substances that are hazardous to health and includes nanomaterials. Provision and Use of Work Equipment Regulations. 1998. The PUA 1998 legislation replaced the 1992 regulations and seeks to address, control and prevent workers' risk of injury and death from equipment they use during the course of their jobs. In addition to the requirements laid out in the PUA legislation, some types of equipment may be subject to other specific legislation. For example, equipment used for lifting, such as forklifts, are also subject to the requirements of the Lifting Operations and Lifting Equipment Regulations 1998. Pressure equipment must meet the Pressure Systems Safety Regulations, and personal protective equipment must meet the PPE regulations. Health and Safety. Display Screen Equipment. Regulations 1992. These regulations only apply to employers whose workers regularly use DSE as a significant part of their normal work, daily, for continuous periods of an hour or more. These workers are known as DSE users. These regulations do not apply to workers who use DSE infrequently or for short periods of time. However, the controls described in How to Control the Risk may still be useful for these workers. If you have DSE users, you must analyze workstations to assess and reduce risks, make sure controls are in place, provide information and training, provide eye and eyesight tests on request, and special spectacles if needed. Review the assessment when the user or DSE changes. For those who employ many users of DSE, this guidance also contains information that may help you manage your legal duties efficiently. See Using DSE Assessors.